The reference production of capital.
Yeah.
No other way to phrase it except Grandpa weeds.
Yeah, I know. He doesn't want to. I know. They can't tolerate.
The word capital
Just like causes them pain.
causes them pain. They don't want to think about it. They don't want to think.
Capital's just a thing. It just exists. People own stuff. Some people own too much stuff. That's all capital means. Capital, the stuff that people own. Especially certain people who own way too much stuff. Or stuff that's fair for them to own.
It was really good. Oh.
Yeah. And it's frustrating too because like we are not the three of us. Well, maybe not no, but we're not We're not advocating for violence. We're not like violent people. We're actually hold a philosophy that is very, pro-human, pro-ethical philosophy. It's just there are aspects of Marxist and Leninist thought which are just true. They're inconvenient truths, I'm not saying we should have violence. Violence is, in my opinion, a road to, and in Marx's opinion, a road to the destruction of everything society has built. But capital is still a thing. You have to do something. Capital, the concentration of capital is going to doom us all if we don't do something about it. And of course, Grandma and Grandpa's whole perspective is, well, we'll be dead before it matters. That's literally what they say. That'd affect me. I'll be dead before that happens.
Well, I won't.
Yeah, well, I won't. My children won't. I guess you don't really. Well, do they care about it? It's very frustrating. Where are you? You're on the ground already. His shield broke right as he came out of his teleport, so I lost track of him. He's just like swimming in the flames. Yes, they are inconvenient. It is ironic that we say inconvenient truths, because Al Gore, the author of the movie Inconvenient Truth about global warming, was a pro-NAFTA, pro-world capitalism, liberal, neoliberal, right? He's famous, probably most famous, for talking about global warming. But in terms of his political philosophy, he is part of the machine that's destroying this planet. And he doesn't even acknowledge that, no, the global warming problem, or the climate catastrophe problem, is wholly owned by capitalism.
It is again, people won't be want to say this.
Yeah.
Regulation won't change it. It is the result of the capitalist mode of production. Yeah, things just float.
That's actually kind of beautiful.
Stand on the water.
Does it even? It's even casting a shadow.
Yep. I think it's a big circle in terms of its actual.
Yeah, the collision.
I guess people don't like to hear it. because it means something that they don't like to do.
I'm gonna see if there's a good camera angle to capture where the character. I think it needs to be Zhongli because he looks at it just like we look at it. I don't know if the camera. I don't know if he maintains that. He does.
花と酒を手に景色を堪能しようとしたが、
Stop doing your idol.
あの頃とはもう違う。旧友とまた。
He's gonna look straight ahead again.
No, he's returned. That's all I wanted. It was just a cool picture. I enjoyed that. Hopefully it got saved in the screenshot directory.
There's no like if you're gonna talk about the problems of modern life, you have to.
But then again, I was just watching something the other day, and they were talking about the on-news debate between Ross Perot and Al Gore about NAFTA. And Ross Perot, who is a libertarian, was anti-NAFTA.
So what's NAFTA again?
The North American Free Trade Agreement. It was basically a deregulation agreement concerning mostly transport and highways between Mexico, Canada, and the United States. It's widely seen as a massive it is the cause of a massive deindustrialization of the United States, and the consequence of all those factories that used to be in the U.S. moved to Mexico, and then
Well, there's less regulation,
and all the goods came back, which means all those goods had a larger carbon footprint.
It probably cost, and you had to pay for the transport too.
But it was cheaper because you could exploit Mexican workers.
Regulations.
Right. So it was terrible. NAFTA was terrible. But it wasn't just terrible for the people who worked in factories in the U.S. I mean, NAFTA is one of the major reasons Trump won in 2016. He ran on anti-NAFTA. Like, 100%. He talked about it. He would go to steel workers and coal towns and stuff. And he would talk about, how Hillary Clinton was part of NAFTA, which she wasn't.
But
and so, like Trump, one of Trump's strongest messages was on people who were mad about NAFTA. But ironically, NAFTA was really bad for the environment. It wasn't just bad for workers. It was also bad for the environment. Yet Al Gore is sitting here on Larry King or whatever, one of those shows, those talking
it
shows,
was one of the most watched.
arguing with a billionaire. And the billionaire was saying, no, NAFTA's bad. This is going to be really bad for our manufacturing, and it's going to destroy our infrastructure. He didn't say anything about the environment, but he could have. And here, Mr. Inconvenient Truth is pushing this agreement that later didn't come into place that radically increased the carbon footprints of all American goods and destroyed the American industry. And it didn't stay in Mexico. It was bad for Mexico too.
Those stolen jobs are the fault of politicians who allowed labor to be moved to Mexico.
And guess what
Not
happened?
the fault of the actual Mexico.
Guess what happened 10 years after all the jobs moved to Mexico? They moved to China.
Sure.
They didn't even stay in Mexico long enough to help Mexico. Like, Mexico may have genuinely believed that they could use those jobs to help, industrialize and benefit.
Oh, but now that we're just doing international shipping.
Yeah. So now, well, they were, car manufacturing and other manufacturing moved there for a little while, not long enough to actually make any sizable increase to the prosperity of Mexico. Just long enough for the industry to go, oh, we're gonna jump across the ocean. We're gonna do China, and then China had the manufacturing for a while, and then China's like, oh shoot, we're kind of tired of being exploited. We're gonna start pushing back. We're gonna start passing rules. So everything moved to Indonesia, and everything moved to Vietnam. And Vietnam's like, no, we don't want you to exploit us. And then the international community said, fine, you don't get any credit until you let us exploit you. And Vietnam had one of the largest recessions that they've had in recent memory, and people were starving in the streets, and the Vietnamese government was forced, basically at gunpoint, to let all that manufacturing in that had moved from Mexico to China to Indonesia, and then finally.
And it all started.
It all started with NAFTA.
NAFTA put the okay on. Essentially said, "Oh no, it's okay for the U.S. to export slavery."
It's that meme with the dominoes, right? It's the little domino. Yeah. Like Al Gore arguing with Ross Perot about NAFTA was the little domino, and the big domino was COVID, I guess. I don't know. It's just been so catastrophic, and it's so ironic to me.
Vietnamese recession.
Yeah.
The
forceful
exploitation of labor in the production of silicon goods by both Samsung and Apple.
Yep.
In China.
Yep. Which then led to Chinese crackdowns, and now China is much more authoritarian than it was because they needed to be authoritarian to counter the force of the American industry. Right. So which then led to it could lead to fucking World War III. All things considered, because all that craziness that's going on in the yeah.
Part of it is that we cut break points, right?
Right.
People have breaking points.
Yep.
Countries have breaking points. Germany exports a shit ton of labor and a shit ton of energy production to the same countries that are soon to suffer from the consequences of NAFTA. When those countries push back, we'll have World War III.
And so it's just
because those countries will push back,
and
Germany will need energy, and Germany will either
escalate.
Try to find energy from other European countries or go to Russia. If they go either way,
they can't go to Russia now. That pipeline's been blown up. CIA took care of that, or whoever. Unknown saboteurs that just happen to be flying around in American helicopters. But that's the thing. But it's more about, I don't want to doom and gloom. I just want to make the observation that Al Gore, who was never taken seriously for what he said, who was right about the environment, was wrong about what to do about it. He was literally one of the small number of human beings that led to the kind of energy globalization that's accelerating climate change. He personally did that. And no amount of movies and PowerPoint slideshows can undo that damage. And it's understandable that people, when he did do his movie and he talked about it, they didn't take his word for it.
Because he was arguing pro-NAFTA.
Because, dude, you're Master NAFTA guy. Oh, she looked like she was drowning there.
You're Mr. NAFTA guy.
Like that happening again? For a minute there, she looked like she was drowning. Yeah. And so it's hard to take someone seriously like that. It's impossible to take someone seriously like that. But we needed to take somebody seriously. I don't know, maybe something could have been done in 2000, 2003, 2004. I mean, it was still a little late. I mean, it really needed to be done in the 80s. You know, and again, NAFTA, I directly blame NAFTA for Trump winning in 2016 because the quote unquote blue states that turned red that Hillary Clinton refused to campaign in were 100% NAFTA voters, and Donald Trump went there and said, "I will change or repeal what he said he was going to repeal." He ended up changing it, but you know, it's
too late.
Locking the born after all the animals have got now. it's too late.
Was it made it was? But NAFTA it opened the floodgates.
Yeah, it caused the dominoes, like I was saying. Yes, there is still some manufacturing in Mexico that is purely benefiting American companies, and those American companies should be making goods with people relatively close to where those goods are consumed, and because of NAFTA, that's not happening. But honestly, in the big scheme of things, NAFTA's not like really gonna change anything. Like it's a tiny. Those manufacturing gods are gone. Those steel mills are closed. It would take this country at least a decade to reconstruct the manufacturing infrastructure that was destroyed by NAFTA. Because it's harder to build than to destroy anything. But all that is very inconvenient. People don't want to think about it. It's terrifying, really. It's genuinely terrifying to think about, you know, the situation that we put ourselves in. And it's going to be really painful. I hate to say this, but like, will that ice shelf just collapse already? That's going to be the wake-up call. That's going to be the big destruction. That's going to be the New York City is flooded. Washington, D.C. is flooded. The seats of power, the European Union headquarters is flooded. Like all these places where the super powerful people of the world live, whether it be power or economic power, which are they're all going to get ruined. Like all their little island villas and all the fancy stuff. I mean, it's gonna suck for a lot of people, but it's gonna suck for the rich people. That's gonna feel so satisfying. It'll be more harm than good, though. It's always more harm than good. The working class always suffer 10 times for any suffering that the capitalists suffer. If not more than 10 times.